The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky signed a decree withdrawing from the Ottawa Convention on the Prohibition of Anti-Personnel Mines. The 1997 treaty prohibits the use, production, storage, and transfer of anti-personnel landmines, with the aim of protecting civilians from the detonation of these mines after the end of a conflict. Russia has never been part of this convention, and according to Zelensky, landmines are a characteristic style of Russian killers who do not distinguish between soldiers and civilians. The decision of the Ukrainian president still needs to go to parliament to be approved.
Ukraine has just activated a bold and controversial strategy, turning its borders into real war traps. The Ukrainians, cornered and facing much larger forces, are now willing to use all possible resources to protect their territory, including weapons condemned by international organizations. A vast network of landmines has been planted to prevent the advance of Russian troops. Volodymyr Zelensky authorized the country's withdrawal from the Ottawa Convention, officially allowing the use of anti-personnel landmines, an extreme measure in the face of the Russian advance on Ukrainian territory. Since 2022, the Russian invasion has completely changed the geopolitical landscape of Eastern Europe, causing Ukraine to resort to innovative and bold strategies to prevent Vladimir Putin's army from conquering the capital, Kyiv. Welcome to Life in the Barracks. The decision of the Ukrainian president follows the path of countries like Poland, Finland, and the Baltics, which also withdrew from the Ottawa Convention to have the freedom to use these landmines. The justification is straightforward. Russia never joined the treaty and has always used landmines with brutality. Ukraine declared it couldn't continue fighting with such a significant disadvantage. Zelensky made it clear that the country is not abandoning moral principles, but acting for survival. The defensive line built with mines aims to block Russian tanks, slow down offensives, and protect cities near the front line. For Vladimir Putin, this decision by Zelensky was a clear sign that Ukraine will not back down easily. Many military analysts say that this new Ukrainian trap could represent a tactical turning point in the conflict. The new network of landmines was planned with the support of military engineers and uses everything from modern devices with proximity sensors to classic pressure-activated models. The placement targets direct access to Kyiv, industrial areas, and logistical hubs. Ukraine's choice to use landmines represents not only a strategic defense measure, but also carries serious risks. Anti-personnel mines are feared because they remain active even after war's end. In many countries, it takes decades before contaminated areas are completely cleared. That's why humanitarian groups warn about the future side effects of this decision. Ukraine says the use will be limited to combat areas and with proper signage, but in such a chaotic conflict, mapping and maintaining this control is a huge challenge. Future removal will require years of work and millions of dollars. Still, for Kyiv, the priority now is to prevent the Russian army from continuing to advance toward the capital. The Ottawa Treaty, signed by more than 160 countries, was created precisely to prevent this kind of scenario. But the brutal reality of the front has put Ukraine in front of a difficult choice: to follow the treaty and lose territory, or break the agreement and survive. The Ukrainian response was clear and direct. We need to survive this invasion. Ukrainian authorities say the decision was difficult but inevitable. Parliament still needs to officially ratify the withdrawal, and a formal statement must be sent to the United Nations. Despite this, in practice, the mines are already being used in specific regions in the east. Military personnel operating on these fronts say that the mines have been effective in slowing down the enemy. Reports indicate that several Russian offensives were halted or redirected after encountering these obstacles. The barrier of explosives is working as a new invisible wall. The Russian forces in turn continue to advance, but with significant losses. Estimates indicate that more than 250,000 Russian soldiers have been killed since the beginning of the war. Every day the fighting intensifies, especially in the regions of Donetsk, Luhansk, and Zaporizhia. Putin is betting on Ukrainian exhaustion, but this new defensive layer shows that Kyiv still has stamina and military creativity. The Russian generals know that the mine line will require new tactics, greater caution, and possibly more time and resources to maintain the offensive momentum. The presence of the mine line has shaken the morale of Russian troops, who now face constant fear when moving equipment and supplies. Any carelessness can result in fatal losses. This invisible threat slows down Russian operations and creates opportunities for Ukrainian forces to carry out counterattacks with greater effectiveness and precision. Roman Kostenko, one of the leading Ukrainian parliamentarians involved in defense, stated that the country could no longer accept the rules of an unfair game. According to him, Russia ignores any limits, and Ukraine cannot continue fighting in a restricted way while the enemy uses all available weapons. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine emphasized that the measure is aimed solely at protecting the people and defending the state. The government stated that the situation demands utmost priority on maintaining the integrity of Ukrainian territory. The cities need time to reorganize, and the new strategy may ensure that. This war has been dragging on for more than 3 years, leaving a trail of destruction and uncertainty. Ukraine, once seen as fragile, is resisting with creativity and courage, and now with the invisible web of landmines, it takes another step to maintain its sovereignty. The international community continues to react with caution. Human rights organizations warn about the risks to civilians, but there are no direct condemnations of Ukraine. Maybe because everyone understands the level of desperation involved. War is ugly, dirty, and often unfair. And for those under attack, survival is the only way. By adopting this new tactic, Kyiv aims to stop Moscow from advancing to Ukraine's core. The defensive strategy with landmines works silently, hidden beneath the ground, but is extremely lethal. Currently, the border between Ukraine and enemy forces is filled with explosive traps, making every Russian step a possible point of no return. Now let's follow the training of some NATO troops who are preparing for a possible large-scale conflict. Here on Life in the Barracks, you stay up to date with everything happening in the military world. Leave your like, subscribe, and watch one of the videos appearing on your screen. Onward, fighters, until next time.